The crash and the silence. It was just past midnight when the sky above the small town of Elmsworth lit up. A bright flash cut through the darkness like lightning. Then came the sound, a deep, echoing boom that shook the windows of every house. Nearby, birds flew from trees, dogs barked. People woke up, confused and afraid. In the quiet forest just outside town, something had fallen from the sky. A boy named Eli sat up in bed. He had seen the flash from his window. He lived with his uncle in a small wooden house near the edge of the forest. Eli's heart beat faster. This wasn't thunder. It wasn't a plane. It was something else. He grabbed a flashlight, put on his jacket, and slipped out the back door. The forest smelled like smoke and burned wood. A thin layer of fog hugged the ground. Eli followed the smell until he saw a soft blue glow ahead. The trees around the crash site were black and twisted. Something had hit the earth hard. In the middle of the crater stood a strange object. It looked like a ship, but small, just big enough to carry one person. It was silent, broken, and steaming. Then he saw her. A figure slowly stepped out of the smoke. She looked like a girl around his age. Her skin was pale blue, almost silver in the moonlight. She wore a dark suit made of a strange material. Her hair was long and white, flowing like mist. Her eyes, bright and glowing, looked directly at him, but she said nothing. Eli froze. He wanted to run, but his feet didn't move. She didn't speak. She didn't attack. She just stood there, silent and calm, like she was waiting. "Are you okay?" Eli asked, voice low. No answer. She tilted her head slightly, as if trying to understand his words. He took a small step forward. "Can you understand me?" Still no reply. She slowly lowered herself to sit on the edge of the crater. Her movements were soft and tired, like someone carrying heavy pain. Eli looked around. The air was too quiet now. He didn't know what to do, but he felt she needed help. She looked lost, not dangerous. "I'll help you," he said. She didn't respond, but when he held out his hand, she looked at it. And after a long pause, she reached out too. Her fingers were cold. Back at Eli's home, he led her to the old shed behind the house. It was dusty and unused, but it was safe. No one would look there. She sat in a corner, still silent. She looked at everything around her: tools, boxes, wires, as if they were strange puzzles. Eli gave her a blanket and some water. "Do you have a name?" he asked. She looked at him, but didn't speak. "Where are you from?" Still nothing. She pointed to the sky, then slowly closed her eyes. A small tear slid down her cheek. Eli didn't understand who she was or why she was here. But one thing was clear. She was alone and scared. The next morning, news spread fast. People in town talked about a loud noise in the forest. Some said it was a meteor. Others believed it was a plane crash. One man claimed he saw a strange shadow moving between the trees. The local police blocked part of the forest. Scientists were expected to arrive the next day. Eli said nothing. He brought food to the shed. She didn't eat much, just sat quietly. That night, she finally picked up a pencil and paper Eli had left on the floor. She wrote one word in shaky handwriting. "Home?" Eli looked at it. He nodded. "We'll figure it out," he said. She watched him, her glowing eyes softening. She still hadn't spoken a single word aloud, but Eli felt they had begun to understand each other. Something deep inside him told him she wasn't just an alien. She was running from something, and whatever it was, it might be coming. As the stars blinked in the night sky, the broken ship in the forest let out a small pulse of light. It was almost invisible, but far above Earth, beyond the moon, something saw it. Something woke up, and it started moving toward. The blue planet. The fear and the whisper asterisk. The night after the crash. The forest was no longer silent. Something had changed. A soft hum echoed through the trees, faint, like a heartbeat in the earth. Birds no longer sang in the woods, and even the wind seemed to avoid that place. The forest, once calm and green, now held a cold breath that never left. Eli couldn't sleep. He lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling. His thoughts raced. Who is she? Where did she come from? Why hasn't she spoken? Down in the shed, the strange girl sat awake. She hadn't closed her eyes once since he brought her there. She barely moved. She just listened. To everything. To the sky. To the silence. To the danger she knew was near. By morning, Elmsworth was buzzing with fear. News vans rolled into town. Reporters spoke of an unknown object from space. One man claimed he saw lights in the trees. A local woman swore she heard a scream that wasn't human. People whispered. Phones rang. The military had arrived. They weren't wearing normal uniforms. These men had no names on their jackets. Their vehicles were black. Their faces were covered. No one knew who they were, but they took control of the town within hours. Eli watched from his window. He knew they weren't here to help Dot in the shed. The girl remained silent. She hadn't touched the food he brought that morning. She just stared at the floor, lost in thought. Eli sat beside her, holding the paper where she'd written home. The night before. I don't know how to help you, he said quietly, but I want to. Her glowing eyes met his. Suddenly, she stood up. She moved to the corner of the shed and touched the wooden wall. Her fingers glowed softly. A symbol burned into the wood, a circle, with 3 lines running through it. Eli stepped closer. What is that? She looked at him. And for the first time she spoke. Her voice was soft, dry, like it hadn't been used in years. They are coming. Eli froze. Who's coming? She closed her eyes. My people. They will find me. Is that bad? He asked. She looked straight at him. I broke the law. I saved the wrong species. Later that day, a man from the black-suited group came to Eli's door. He introduced himself as Commander Bryn. He smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. His eyes didn't blink enough. We're doing routine checks, he said. Have you seen anything unusual in the forest? Eli shook his head. Just lightning. Or maybe a crash. I don't know. Commander Bryn stared at him for a long moment. Then he leaned in. If you do see anything not human, report it immediately. Eli nodded and shut the door. His hands were shaking. That night, the girl whispered in her sleep. Eli had decided to stay near her, sleeping in the shed. He woke up around 3 a.m. to the sound of her voice. Eli. She said softly, though her eyes were still closed. He leaned forward. You know my name? She didn't respond, but her body began to glow slightly, her breath faster than normal. Suddenly, her voice changed. It grew deeper, like a second voice was layered behind her own. Time is ending, she whispered. They come not for me, but for the flame. Eli stepped back. What flame? Her eyes shot open bright white. Then they faded back to normal. She blinked, confused. I saw something, she said, voice trembling. From your past. From hers. Eli stared at her. From who? She looked away. Your mother. Eli's world shattered in that moment. His mother, Captain Lina Hayes, had been part of Earth's space research team. She had vanished during a deep space mission 5 years ago. Her ship was lost, her crew never found. Everyone believed she died, except Eli. He always felt she was still out there. How do you know her? He asked, barely breathing. The alien girl Aris, as she would later be known, didn't answer. She walked to the back wall of the shed. With glowing fingers, she drew another symbol. This one was a spiral, with a single dot in the center. She found me when I had no voice, Iris said. She gave me one. Tears welled in Eli's eyes. She's alive? Iris turned to him. She was. But if the others find me? She will not be. Suddenly, a sharp whirring sound filled the shed. A red light scanned across the window. A small machine hovered outside metal, floating, scanning. A drone. Eli dove to the floor. Ares stayed still, eyes locked on the red light. Then she moved fast. She raised her hand, and a blue pulse shot from her palm. It passed through the wall silently. Outside, the drone sparked, twitched, and fell. Eli crawled to the window. The drone lay in pieces. Smoke rose from its shell. He looked at Iris, shocked. "What did you do?" "I disabled it," she said, calmly. "But now, they know." A few miles away, deep inside a black military truck, Commander Bryn watched a screen. The drone's feed had cut out. Its last scan showed heat signatures. 2 of them. 1 human, 1 unknown. He smiled. "Found you," he whispered Dot, then he tapped his earpiece. "Prepare the team. We move at dawn." Back in the shed, Iris handed Eli the paper again. She took the pencil and wrote 2 new words. "Run now." The first voiced the sun hadn't yet risen, but the town of Elmsworth was already under a silent storm. Black trucks rolled across dirt roads. Drones buzzed above the trees. The forest that once felt alive now felt hunted. The people in town didn't see the soldiers, but they felt them, like ghosts moving through shadows. Inside the old wooden shed, Eli packed fast. Blankets, food, a map, a flashlight. He stuffed everything into a backpack with shaking hands. Iris stood nearby, quiet and still, like a statue made of soft silver. "Light, we can't stay," he whispered. "They're coming." Iris nodded once. She looked tired, but not weak. Her glow had dimmed, but her eyes burned with something new. Not fear. Memory. The forest was still damp from the night. Dew covered the leaves. Mist curled low along the ground. Eli led the way, pushing branches aside. Iris followed closely, bare, feet silent on the cold earth. They didn't speak. They couldn't risk it. Somewhere above them, a drone passed again. This one was smaller, faster. It didn't make noise. Iris stopped. She reached out and touched Eli's arm. He turned. She didn't speak, but she looked at him. Something was happening. She slowly closed her eyes and placed her hand near his. Forehead dotted first. Eli felt nothing. Then suddenly, he heard her voice, but not through his ears, through his mind. "Can you hear me now?" He gasped and fell to his knees. She pulled her hand back. "I didn't mean to hurt," she said out. Loud this time. Her voice was soft, but clearer than before. Eli blinked. "What was that?" "My first voice," she replied. "The one I was born with, before your world's words." He stood up slowly. "You were?" "In my head," Iris nodded. "Only. With your permission, I need to show you something." Eli took a deep breath. "Okay, show me." She touched his forehead again, and the world disappeared. Eli's mind filled with light. He saw stars, billions of them, moving fast, like dust in a storm. He saw a planet, dark and cracked, floating alone. It looked dead. But then he saw them, tall, glowing beings walked across the surface. Not just one kind, but many, some with wings, some made of light, others with faces like stone. It was not one species. It was many, working together. A universal alliance. And above them all, a council of elders. Beings who watched over the worlds. Judges, protectors. Among them stood Ariaj, but she was younger. Softer. Eli saw another scene, a strange ship crashing into that same alien world. It wasn't one of theirs. It was human. The crew was dying, and one of them was Eli's mother. Captain Lena Hayes. While the others walked away, Iris ran toward the wreck. She pulled Lena out of the flames. She healed her, fed her, protected her, and because of that, she was punished, banished, stripped of her voice, and sent away. Alone. The vision ended. Eli opened his eyes. His heart raced. His chest ached. "She saved my mother," he whispered. Iris looked down. She told me Earth would understand. That humans were different. That your kind could love what you fear. Eli shook his head slowly. She was right. But the moment didn't last. Because just ahead, across a small clearing, movement appeared. Figures. 6 of them. Black helmets. Red lights on their shoulders. Soldiers. Eli and Ares ducked behind a rock. One of the men spoke into a wrist device. Target confirmed. Life signs detected. Orders? A robotic voice replied. Capture. Do not damage the source. Ares looked at Eli. I can distract them, she said. You run. No. He whispered. We both run. But it was too late. The red lights turned. The soldiers raised their weapons. Iris stood. Her glow returned brighter, stronger. She raised her hands. The air shimmered. The first soldier fired. A blast of energy shot toward her, but stopped mid-air. It froze, like caught in invisible glass. Then it shattered. Eli watched, frozen in awe. Ares spoke one word in her alien tongue, and the earth beneath the soldiers' feet cracked. Roots burst upward like snakes, grabbing their legs, pulling them to the ground. One of them managed to scream before vines covered his helmet. Silence. They ran. Through the forest. Faster than before. Eli didn't stop to think. He just followed the silver light ahead of him. They reached the river. The current was fast, angry from the last rainstorm. The bridge was old half broken. Eli looked at it. We can't. Ares placed her hand on the broken wood. It glowed. And reformed. Just enough for them to cross. They didn't look back. On the other side, they collapsed in the tall grass, breathing hard. Eli looked at her. How did you do all that? I was not always silent, she said. I was a speaker, a protector. But when I saved your mother, they feared my choice. Eli's voice broke. Where is she now? My mom? Iris looked away. She stayed behind. She sent me to warn Earth. She told me, if I found you, you would help. Eli's throat tightened. His mother was alive, or had been, and now all the pieces were coming together. Why Earth? He asked. Why is your kind coming here? Iris closed her eyes. Because Earth is waking up. You are not alone anymore. And some do not want you to rise. Far above, in the black of space, an enormous vessel drifted into view. Long, sharp, silent. Inside it, rows of frozen soldiers waited to be awakened. And in the center, a giant crystal pulsed with life. Inside it, a woman floated still alive. Captain Lena Hayes. And her eyes suddenly opened. The chase begins. The world hadn't changed, but Eli had. Just yesterday, he was an ordinary boy living in a forgotten town. Now he was running through forests with an alien girl who had no home, no family, and no time. He had seen other worlds, felt her voice inside his mind, and learned the truth about his mother. She wasn't dead. She was trapped in space. And the people who took her? They were already on their way to Earth. Eli and Iris found shelter in an old train tunnel hidden deep in the hills. The rails hadn't worked in years. The town had once tried to rebuild it, but gave up halfway. Moss and rust covered the tracks. Inside the tunnel, they sat against a wall, tired and silent. Eli's arms were scraped, and Iris's glow was fading. Her hands trembled slightly. "You're hurt," he said. Iris shook her head. "No, just tired. Using my power on Earth costs more. Your planet resists." Eli leaned his head back against the stone wall. Why would it do that? Because Earth is still young, still waking. It doesn't know what it is yet. Eli frowned. "What do you mean?" Iris looked at him. "There are ancient worlds," she said softly. "Planets that remember things, voices, energy, power. But Earth? It's like a child who hasn't opened its eyes." Eli blinked. "Then why are they coming here?" Iris paused, then whispered, "Because they want to shut its eyes before it sees too much." Far away, inside a dark control room hidden beneath Elmsworth, Commander Bryn stood before a glowing table. On it, 2 red dots blinked, showing movement through the hills. "They're moving east," he said coldly. "Activate Team Hound." A soldier nodded. "Sir, should we take them alive?" Bryn turned. His eyes weren't entirely human. "Take the boy alive," he said. "But the girl, destroy her voice." Back in the tunnel, Eli and Iris slept. For a short while. But as dawn rose, a low rumbling sound woke them out at first. Eli thought it was thunder. But then it came again, and again. Closer. Ice opened her eyes. "Run!" They burst out of the tunnel, just as a black hovercraft dropped. Out of the sky, its engines humming like bees. Men in armor poured out, holding weapons with glowing red barrels. Eli grabbed Iris's hand. They ran into the trees. The first shot hit a tree beside them. Bark exploded in every direction. The second shot hit the ground, lighting the grass. On fire. Iris turned, held up her hands, and the flames vanished. But the soldiers were gaining. "Split up." Eli shouted, "I'll draw them away." "No," Iris said, but it was too late. Eli ran left. Iris went right. 3 soldiers followed him. 4 chased her. Eli sprinted through a narrow stream. The cold water soaked his shoes, but he didn't stop. He ducked under low branches and jumped over fallen logs. Behind him, the soldiers fired again. 1 shot grazed his shoulder. He winced, but kept going. Then he slipped. His foot hit a wet rock, and he tumbled down a slope, rolling into a shallow ditch. He couldn't move. His vision blurred. A soldier approached, but before he could shoot, ground shook and something burst out of the trees. Not Iris, not a human, a giant metal creature with long spider-like legs. Its eyes glowed yellow. It grabbed the soldier and threw him into a tree. Then it turned to Eli. Eli held up his arms in fear, but the machine paused. Its yellow light blinked, then turned blue. It scanned Eli's face and stepped back elsewhere. Iris was cornered by the river. The soldiers surrounded her. One of them lifted a special weapon, long and silver, with symbols carved into its side. This one's voice is forbidden, he said. Iris raised her hand to fight, but the soldier fired first. A bolt of white light struck her chest. She fell to her knees, gasping. Her glow faded. She couldn't speak. The soldier stepped forward. "You should have stayed silent." Suddenly, a rock hit him in the helmet. He turned. Eli stood on the other side of the river, holding another rock. "I told you, we don't give up that easy." Behind him, the strange metal machine followed like a guard. Eli jumped across the river and ran to Iris. "Come on," he said, lifting her. The soldiers fired, but the machine blocked every shot with a glowing shield. Eli and Iris escaped into the trees. An hour later, they found a hidden cave inside a CLIFFSID Eli helped her lie down. You saved me, she whispered weakly. He smiled. You saved me first. Then Aris looked at him seriously. I didn't tell you everything, she said. There's more. Eli leaned in. What more? She pointed at the machine outside the cave. That's not one of theirs. It's a guardian. Ancient tech. From Earth. Eli blinked. Earth? She nodded. Your planet is older than you think. Your people forgot what it used to be. He frowned. And that machine remembered me? No, she said. It remembered your mother. She woke it. Eli's heart skipped a beat. Where is she? Ares looked at him. Still alive, but not for long. The people who took her, they need her voice. Eli narrowed his eyes. To do what? Iris's voice dropped to a whisper. To open the gate. In orbit, the alien vessel hovered above Earth. Inside, deep within the ship's core, Captain Lena Hayes stood in a glowing chamber. Wires ran into her back. A voice echoed around her. You carry the key, it said. Your blood holds the signal. Your voice will awaken the ancient gate. She clenched her fists. You'll never use me. But the machine didn't care. Her voice had been recorded, and it had already begun to unlock the first seal. Back on Earth, Eli stood at the edge of the cliff, looking out across the forest. He made a choice. We're not running anymore, he sighed. We fight. Iris stood beside him. Her glow returned. And from the cave behind them, more machines awakened. Buried guardians, forgotten protectors of a planet that was no longer sleeping. Earth had started to remember. And the chase had only just begun. The message in the stars asterisk, the machines had been asleep for centuries. Buried. Under rock, hidden beneath rivers, swallowed by forests. And now, they were waking up. One by one. Eli stood in the cave entrance, watching 5 ancient machines rise from the earth. They were not perfect, rusted, worn. Their limbs shook, but their eyes still glowed with blue, soft light. Not red like the enemy machines. These ones didn't kill, they protected. He turned to Aris, who stood with her hand pressed to the cave wall. She had drawn a symbol in glowing blue, an ancient rune. The machines responded to it like a call. Eli whispered, These were on Earth the whole time? Aris nodded. Long before your people built cities, before language, before fire. These guardians kept something hidden. What? Eli asked. Aris looked at him. Something powerful and dangerous. Far above the planet, the enemy ship circled Earth like a dark moon. Inside its cold chambers, Captain Lena Hayes was bound to a throne of crystal and metal. Tubes ran into her body. Her mind was being tapped. Memories stolen. A deep, alien voice echoed in the chamber. You humans forgot your origins. We did not. Lena clenched her teeth. Earth belongs to no one. A new screen opened in front of her. A countdown began. 72 hours until full alignment. The gate would open. And Earth would burn. Back in the cave, Ari showed Eli a secret. She placed her hand on the wall, and it began to glow. The stone shifted, revealing an old console, buried and dusty. Symbols lit up, floating in the air. This is not just a cave, she said. It's a signal post, one of the last. Eli stepped closer. What kind of signal? Iris typed something. The symbols rearranged. Then, above them, a hologram appeared. A map of stars. Lines connected systems. In the center was Earth, but it was not labeled as Earth. It had another name. Kavara. What does it mean? Eli asked. Iris spoke slowly, like repeating words from a dream. First light, she turned to him. Your planet was the first to be seeded with the spark, the first to hold the voice. But the humans forgot. They built weapons instead of wisdom. They lost their link. Eli whispered, "So, Earth is special?" She nodded. "It is the origin, but now others want to rewrite that history. If the gate opens, they'll erase your world's truth forever." Just then, the console beeped. A new signal appeared broadcasting across. Space. It was a voice. Faint, broken, but familiar. Eli's heart skipped. He heard his mother's voice. "To anyone listening, this is Captain Lena Hayes. They've used me to unlock something ancient. Do not let them finish. They are not gods. They are thieves of time. Eli, A message cut off. Silence. Eli backed away. Tears in his eyes. "She's alive," he said. "She's trying to stop them." Iris looked troubled. "If they're that close to using her voice, then the gate is almost open." "Then we stop them," Eli said, but Iris shook her head. "We can't fight them from here." Eli's mind raced. He looked at the machines. "There has to be a way," he said. What were these guardians protecting? Iris walked toward the deepest part of the cave. A memory, a map. The stone under their feet began to shift. It opened, revealing a long staircase going down into the earth. Soft wind rose from the dark. The machine stayed above. Iris and Eli walked down deeper than any human had in centuries. At the bottom, they reached a chamber carved into crystal. Floating in the center was a sphere, glowing, beating like a heart. Iris bowed her head. The core memory, placed here by the first ones. Eli stepped closer. Suddenly, the sphere lit up. It scanned him. A voice, ancient and calm, filled the room. "Human signature. Confirmed. DNA pattern linked to speaker haze. Authorization granted." The sphere opened, and golden light flowed into Eli's mind. He saw things. Earth before humans. Alien ships landing in silence. The spark planted in the soil. Beings of light, teaching early life to speak, to feel, to connect. But then others came. Dark ones, machines without soul. They burned the sky. A war began, and the guardians were made not to win, but to delay. To protect the memory. To wait for the speaker to return. Eli fell to his knees. He was breathing hard. His head hurt, but the truth was clear now. "This isn't just about my mom," he said. "It's about me. I'm connected to all of this." Iris knelt beside him. "You carry the spark. The last one." Eli clenched his fist. "Then we use it." But Iris didn't smile. "There's one more thing," she said. "The gate can only be opened with two voices. One they have your mother's. The other," she looked at him, "is yours." Above the cave, the guardians stirred. And beyond the clouds, the enemy fleet began to descend. Black ships pierced the sky like falling knives. One landed in the desert. Another in the ocean. And one just outside Elmsworth. The countdown had begun. Eli and Iris rose from the chamber. They returned to the surface. The guardians turned toward him. For the first time, they bowed. They recognized him. A boy, born of earth and light. The new speaker, Commander Bryn, watched from a hilltop. His helmet cracked, eyes glowing with false light. "They've awakened the core," he hissed. A soldier asked, "Should we proceed?" Bryn smiled. "Let them run. Let them gather their toys. We will open the gate either way, and when we do, their voices will be the first to burn." Back in the cave, Iris placed her hand on the console. A new map opened. A hidden launch point. A secret ship. Old. Buried. But still alive. "We can reach orbit," she said. "We can reach her." Eli nodded. But deep down, he knew the real war hadn't even started. The message in the stars asterisk, the cave had gone silent, but the stars had started to speak, and the voice coming from above was human. Eli stared at the glowing message tower. Deep inside the cave, The air felt heavier now, like gravity was slowly increasing. Beside him, Ari stood with her eyes closed, her fingers brushing against the ancient control console. The symbols floating in the air shifted as she touched them, alive and bright like fireflies caught in a stream. Then a sound filled the chamber. Broken, cracked, but real. Eli ... If you hear this ... don't come for me ... Eli's heart stopped. That voice, he knew it. They're using my voice to open something. Something buried inside your planet. The gate must never open. The recording glitched. A hiss echoed across the walls. Don't trust. Then silence ... gone ... The message cut off. Eli didn't move for a long time. His mother's voice had reached him from the stars, but it was filled with warning, with fear. He clenched his fists. They're hurting her. She's a prisoner. Iris opened her eyes. Her glow dimmed. She's more than a prisoner. She's the last lock. Eli turned. The last lock for what? Iris stared at him. For a prison buried inside your planet. Above Earth, in the freezing black of space, a dark shape moved larger than any ship humans had ever built. This was no ship. This was a tomb. Inside its heart, Captain Lena Hayes floated inside a stasis chamber. Tubes and wires connected her body to a strange device, a glowing crystal core that pulsed every few seconds. Like a heartbeat. Each pulse sent her voice, her real voice, back to Earth. Bit by bit. The system was unlocking her words, not just what she said, what she meant. The ship was rewriting her soul into code, and somewhere in the code was a command. To open the gate. Back on Earth, the cave chamber had begun to change. The floating map of the galaxy rotated, zoomed in slowly, until only Earth remained in the center. But this time, the land masses looked different. Eli frowned. That's not what Earth looks like. Aris nodded. That's what it used to look like. Mountains where there are now oceans. A great glowing tree in the center of a landmass that no longer exists. This is Earth. Before the fall, Iris said. Before your kind forgot where they came from. Eli stepped forward. What was here before us? Ares touched the map. It flickered, then showed something new. A giant circular gate, buried deep beneath the Earth's surface. Bigger than any human city. Ancient, covered in chains of energy. Long ago, she said, there was a being that tried to rewrite life across the galaxy. It had no form. It was voice only, sound and thought. But powerful. Too powerful. Eli whispered. They trapped it? Araris nodded. And Earth was chosen as the prison. A memory played. Dozens of starships. Massive. Alien. Glowing with light. They circled the planet. Worked together. They dug deep. Built the gate. And used something rare to lock it. Living voices. One to seal it. One to remember it. The sealed voice died long ago. But the memory voice lived on, passed from speaker to speaker. Until one day, a child was born. Half Earth, half light. The voice had returned. And that voice was Eli. Eli stumbled back. Me? Ari stepped forward. Joy. That's why your mother was chosen. Her blood was the key. But she wasn't the one they really wanted. She looked into his eyes. They want you. Eli's hands trembled. His chest felt tight. Then, if I speak the wrong words, I'll open it? Ares nodded. Not just open it. You'll free the being inside. Eli fell to his knees. At that moment, far across the galaxy, the tomb ship's countdown reached its next phase. A new voice echoed through the chamber. Deep, ancient, and now, awake. The voice rises. The child speaks. The chains tremble. Captain. Hayes opened her eyes. Inside the crystal prison. She saw the gate forming on the ship's main screen. She screamed. Back in Elmsworth. Commander Bryn stood on a hill, overlooking the burning forest. His eyes no longer looked human. His veins glowed under his skin. A soldier approached. "We're losing drones in Sector 9. Something underground is interfering." Bryn didn't respond. He was listening to a signal only he could hear. A whisper. From space. The speaker breathes. The seal weakens. Bryn smiled. "We're almost there." In the cave, Ares guided Eli to a new section deeper than any part before. They entered a chamber where the air shimmered with power. Floating in the center was a single object, a shard of crystal, shaped like a flame, pulsing with a heartbeat. "This is the last star seed," Ares said. "It can destroy the gate forever, but only if the speaker chooses silence." Eli didn't understand. "Silence? If you speak the ancient word," she said, "the gate opens. But if you stay silent and burn this shard, the gate is sealed forever. Even your voice will not reach it again." Eli touched the shard dot. It felt like holding time itself. He saw his mother, trapped, tired, still fighting. He saw his town, his friends, the people who never believed. He saw Earth, still innocent, still unprepared. He made his choice. "I'll go. With you," he said. "We'll go to space. We'll rescue my mother, and we'll destroy that gate together." Ares looked unsure. "There's more," she said. "The moment we reach orbit, they will hear you. They will come. Let them," Eli said. "Let them all come. This is our world." As they prepared to leave the cave, the Guardians gathered at the entrance. The machines opened their arms and revealed something hidden inside one of them. Ship.old, small, shaped like a bird, but it still worked. Ares smiled. A starflyer. Built before Earth forgot the sky. Eli stepped into the cockpit. "Let's remind it." As the ship powered up, the countdown aboard the tomb reached its final phase point, 24 hours. The gate's surface cracked, and something behind it laughed. The betrayal and the bond asterisk. The ship rose through the clouds. Like a bird returning home after a long winter. Eli sat in the pilot seat, gripping the controls. Ares sat beside him, her glow soft but steady. Below them, Earth was shrinking forests, rivers, and mountains turning into patterns of green and blue above them. The stars opened, but between them and the stars waited the tomb. They broke through the atmosphere in silence. The ship was old but alive. The ancient tech inside responded to Ares's touch like it remembered her. The stars shifted. The black was endless. And then they saw it, floating in orbit like a dead god. The enemy vessel. It didn't look like a ship. It looked like a wound-twisted metal, alive with shadows. Glowing chains circled it. At its center, a sphere of red light, burning. Beating. Inside that sphere was Eli's mother. Captain Lena Hayes, still alive, still resisting. Iris turned to Eli. "Once we go closer, we can't hide. They will see you. They will hear you." Eli nodded. "Then let them listen." The ship glided forward, slipping between debris fields and old satellite husks. A docking signal activated a faint, pulsing tone, but it wasn't from them. The tomb was calling them in. They docked near an open hangar. The moment the ship touched metal, Iris stood. "I can mask your signal for a few minutes," she said. "But only if I stay on the ship." Eli froze. "No, we go together." She placed a hand on his chest. "You need to find her." "I'll protect our exit." He hesitated, but then nodded. Their eyes met. A silent promise passed between them. "Come back together." Eli stepped into the tomb. It was cold, not just space cold, but ancient cold. Like the walls remembered pain. The halls were endless. Metal twisted like roots, and strange lights flickered as he passed. At every corner, Machines watched him floating, scanning. But none attacked. Not yet. He walked deeper, guided by a strange pull in his chest, like his voice was being drawn forward. Back on the ship, Ari sat in silence, but something in the shadows moved. She turned. A figure stepped out. Commander Bryn, but he no longer wore human skin. His face had peeled back, revealing a being made of silver and black light. His eyes two burning stars. Should have stayed hidden, he said. Iris stood. Her hands glowed. Bryn smiled. We're not here for you anymore. We have the boy. Eli reached the central chamber, and there, behind a glass wall, was his mother. Her eyes opened. She gasped, Eli? He ran to the glass. Mom, I'm here. I'm going to get you out. Tears formed in her eyes. No, you shouldn't have. Come, they'll use you. Then the room shifted. The walls turned black, and a new voice echoed. So, the spark returns. Eli spun around from the shadows. Someone stepped forward. A boy, maybe 18, same age as Eli, but not quite human. His eyes were pure silver. His skin shimmered. His voice echoed even when he whispered. My name is Kale, he said. I am what you could have been. Eli narrowed his eyes. You're one of them, Kale smiled. Not just one of them. I was made to be your replacement. But then your mother ran, hid you, saved you. He stepped closer, and now you're here, and she's weak, and I'm ready. A second screen lit up. It showed Earth. The gate had started to open. Cracks appeared in mountains. Rivers boiled. The sky darkened. The countdown read. 6 hours. Kale turned to him. There is only one choice now, he said. Join me. We speak together. The gate opens. And you live forever. Eli shook his head. You want to destroy Earth. No, Kale said. I want to restart it. Clean it. The gate will release what once was. And what once was perfect. Eli looked at his mother behind the glass. She whispered. Don't trust him. Don't speak. Please. Kale smiled. If you won't speak willingly, then I'll make you. Back on the ship, Ares fought Bryn. Their powers clashed like thunder. Each strike cracked the walls. Lightning and light collided. The ship trembled, but Bryn was stronger now. He struck her down. She hit the floor hard, her glow flickering. He stood over her. The boy has already walked into the gate. The bond is broken. Ares looked up, her eyes full of fire, and whispered one word. No. Inside the tomb, Kale placed a hand on Eli's forehead. Eli screamed, his mind filled with voices, hundreds, maybe thousands, all shouting, all demanding, open it, speak the word. Free us. But in the middle of the noise, another voice, kin.soft.clear.aris. You are not alone, Eli. You are the bond. His mother looked at him through the glass, barely awake. Her lips moved. Be strong. Eli's eyes opened wide. He pushed Kale back with a burst of energy. It came from his chest, not magic, not light. Memory. He remembered her voice, the lullabies, the stories. The human part of him. He screamed, and the glass shattered. He caught his mother as she fell. Behind him, Kale howled. You're too late. The gate is opening. A giant screen lit up above them. The gate had activated. Energy surged from the core of the earth. A beam shot into space. The chains on the tomb vessel began to break. And behind them, something woke up. A shape, a creature, not alive, not dead. Voice that existed before time. Eli looked at his mother. Can we still stop it? She nodded weakly. Only with your bond. He turned to the camera. To the ship's core and spoke one word. Not the gate word. Not the command, but her name. Ares! The power surged back on the ship. Ares' body lit up. Her glow became a flame. She rose. Bryn stepped back. Too late. She vanished into light. Inside the tomb, Ares appeared beside Eli. Not walking, descending like a comet. Her light filled the chamber. She placed her hand on his. Their voices joined. Not to open the gate, but to break it. They turned to the core, and they spoke. Together. A language lost to stars. The gate screamed. The beam cracked. The tomb broke. Apart. The creature behind the gate reached out and was burned by the light. The spark had become a flame, and Earth had spoken. No. The tomb exploded. The gate shattered. And in the silence that followed, Earth was still. Alive. And free. The final stand. Space was quiet again, but peace had not returned. Not yet. The gate was broken. The tomb ship had shattered. The great ancient evil had been denied entry. And still, something was wrong. The silence was not calm. It was waiting. Eli floated outside the remains of the tomb vessel. Earth glowed far below, safe for now. He held his mother's hand as the emergency pod carried them through the debris. She was weak but alive. Inside her eyes was a quiet strength. Even now, after all the pain, she whispered, "You did what I couldn't. You chose not to open it." Eli looked down. "I wanted to. I almost did, but you didn't," she said. "That's the difference." They looked out the window. Behind them, a new light had begun to grow. A tear in space, where the creature had reached through the gate, had not closed. It had left the scar, a hole in reality, and something still waited on the other side. On the ship, Iris stood at the central console. Her light was flickering. She looked not weak, but fading, as if too much power had been used to burn the gate's last echo. She turned to the guardians that had followed them from Earth. 4 ancient machines, loyal only to truth. They watched her, their eyes dim. "I need to go alone," she said. Didn't move. "I was the one who carried the voice. I will be the one to carry the final flame." Down in the pod, Eli saw her ship moving toward the scar. He stood. "She's going in." His mother grabbed his wrist. "No, she's trying to finish it." "She'll die," he said. "She knows that," his mother replied. "But she's already made her choice." Eli shook his head. "No, not again. I'm not losing someone else." He turned to the panel, hit override, and launched back toward her ship. As Ares reached the edge of the scar, she opened the final archive from the memory core. The data shimmered around her. Star charts, voices, names long forgotten. She spoke the sacred words, not to open, but to seal. But the scar twisted, and a voice, cold and vast, answered her. "You burn bright, child of silence." But even flames flicker in the void. A shadow formed beyond the tear, the true form of the being they had locked away. It wasn't a creature, that it was a memory of pain. Every war, every scream, every betrayal. Had no face, no eyes. Just darkness made solid. And it reached for her. Eli crashed into her ship. The moment he entered, Ares turned, her eyes wide. "Why are you here?" "I didn't come to watch you die." She shouted. "This was my burden." "No," Eli said. "This is our world. You taught me that. And I won't let you carry it alone." For the first time, her face broke. She didn't look like a weapon or an alien. She looked like a girl trying to hold back tears. The ship shook. The scar pulsed. The shadow entered. The lights blinked. The Guardians activated one last protocol. Containment Sequence Alpha. Iris and Eli looked at the core. A single option remained. Merge signal. Sacrifice memory. Seal breach. Eli looked at her. "What does it mean?" Ares whispered. One of us has to stay behind, in the memory. To keep it closed? Yes. He stepped forward. I'll do it. Her voice cracked. No, I'm human, he said. They need you. I'm not even from this world. She said, and I wouldn't have saved it without you, he said. That's what makes you part of it now. The ship's AI gave them seconds. 10.9.8. Then. Ares moved faster than Eli expected. She kissed his forehead and pressed the control. A pod closed around him. Eli screamed, No, Ares! Don't. But she smiled softly as the light around her brightened. Every voice matters, Eli, even mine. She turned toward the scar. The shadow screamed in rage. Ares walked into it. Her light exploded into the breach. And the hole. Sealed. The Guardians turned to. Eli's pod. 1 placed its hand on the glass and whispered in a language not made of sound. Then they flew away, returning to Earth. Their mission complete. Years passed. Earth healed. The sky never cracked again. But the memory of what happened was never made public. Only a few knew the truth. Eli and his mother were declared heroes of a mission that never happened. But in secret, Eli built something, a station. In orbit, where stars shine brightest. At its center was a room. Quiet. Still. And filled with light. And there, he kept her name glowing on the wall. Ice. The girl who was never meant to be heard, but became the voice that saved a world. One day, a signal blinked. Small, quiet, but familiar. He rushed to the panel, opened the channel, and heard her. Voice. Faint. But alive. Still here, speaker. Still listening.